Have you ever made a decision so terrible that you believed you had forfeited your right to be loved? Have you ever felt so far from home, not just physically but in your soul, that you thought going back was impossible? Today we explore one of the most powerful stories Jesus ever told. A story that has comforted the broken, challenged the self-righteous, and redefined what love truly means. This is the parable of the prodigal son, and it will challenge everything you think you know about grace, forgiveness, and what it means to come home. Luke 15 opens with a scene that reveals exactly why Jesus told this parable. Luke 15, 1-2. Now the tax collectors and sinners were all gathering around to hear Jesus, but the Pharisees and the teachers of the law muttered, "This man welcomes sinners and eats with them." Jesus was surrounded by the outcasts of society, the rejected, the broken, the morally disgraced, and the religious elite were watching with contempt. So Jesus responded not with an argument, but with three parables: a lost sheep, a lost coin, and a lost son. Each story builds on the last. But the prodigal son is the masterpiece. A story within a story, with two sons whose journeys reveal the full spectrum of how we relate to God and to grace. Luke 15, 11-12. Jesus continued, "There was a man who had two sons. The younger one said to his father, 'Father, give me my share of the estate.' So he divided his property between them." Let us pause here. In the culture of Jesus' time, what the younger son just did was unthinkable. To ask for your inheritance while your father was still alive was essentially saying, "Father, I wish you were dead." It was a profound insult, a rejection of relationship in favor of resources. The son did not want the father. He wanted what the father had. And yet, the father gave it to him. No argument, no punishment, no forced compliance. This is the first glimpse of a father who will become the heart of this story. A father who loves with open hands, even when it costs him everything. Luke 15, 13-16. Not long after that, the younger son got together all he had, set off for a distant country, and there squandered his wealth in wild living. After he had spent everything, there was a severe famine in that whole country, and he began to be in need. So he went and hired himself out to a citizen of that country, who sent him to his fields to feed pigs. The phrase, "a distant country," is not just geographical, it is spiritual. The son has placed as much space as possible between himself and his father. And when the money was gone, so were the friends. This is one of the most brutally honest observations Jesus makes, that worldly prosperity attracts company, but only genuine love endures through poverty. The young man, a Jewish boy, finds himself feeding pigs. In Jewish culture, pigs were unclean animals. This detail is not accidental. Jesus is painting a picture of the lowest point imaginable. A boy who has not only lost everything materially, but has lost his identity, his dignity, and his connection to his people. Luke 15, 16. He longed to fill his stomach with the pods that the pigs were eating, but no one gave him anything. No one gave him anything. He was completely alone. Luke 15, 17. When he came to his senses, he said, "How many of my father's hired servants have food to spare, and here I am starving to death?" When he came to his senses. This phrase in the original Greek suggests an awakening, like someone coming out of a stupor. The younger son finally sees his situation clearly. Notice that his first motivation to return is not purely spiritual. It is practical. He is hungry. He is desperate. He does not yet fully understand grace. He plans to go back as a servant, not as a son. Luke 15-18, 19. I will set out and go back to my father and say to him, "Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants."
He rehearses his speech. He prepares his apology. "Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants."
So he got up and went to his father. But while he was still a long way off, his father saw him and was filled with compassion for him. He ran to his son, threw his arms around him, and kissed him. This single verse contains one of the most extraordinary images in all of Scripture. The father sees him while he was still a long way off. This tells us something profound. The father had been watching, waiting, every day, scanning the horizon, hoping to see that familiar silhouette on the road. And when he saw him, he ran. In the culture of the ancient Near East, a man of dignity and status did not run. Running meant lifting your robe, exposing your legs. It was considered undignified, beneath a patriarch. But this father threw aside his dignity and ran. Not walked, not waited, ran. He did not wait for the rehearsed speech. He did not make his son grovel. Before a single word of apology was spoken, the father was already embracing him, already kissing him. This, Jesus is telling us, is what God is like.
Quick, bring the best robe and put it on him. Put a ring on his finger and sandals on his feet. Bring the fattened calf and kill it. Let's have a feast and celebrate. For this son of mine was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found.
Father, I have sinned against heaven and against you. I am no longer worthy to be called your son. Make me like one of your hired servants.
The language of resurrection, death and life, lost and found. Grace does not merely improve, it resurrects. But Jesus is not finished. The parable has a second act, one that many people overlook, yet one that may be even more convicting.
Older son, what is going on? Servant, your brother has come and your father has killed the fattened calf because he has him back safe and sound. Look, all these years I've been slaving for you and never disobeyed your orders. Yet you never gave me even a young goat so I could celebrate with my friends. But when this son of yours who has squandered your property with prostitutes comes home, you kill the fattened calf for him.
Notice what the older son reveals about himself in this speech. He calls it slaving. He describes obedience not as love but as labor, and he calls his brother this son of yours, refusing to acknowledge him as his own brother. He has been in the Father's house all along, but he has never truly understood the Father's heart. Jesus is speaking directly to the Pharisees, the religious leaders who were watching with contempt as he welcomed sinners. They were the older sons, obedient on the outside, resentful on the inside.
My son, the father said, you are always with me and everything I have is yours. But we had to celebrate and be glad, because this brother of yours was dead and is alive again. He was lost and is found. You are always with me, and everything I have is yours. This brother of yours.
And the parable ends there, without telling us what the older son decided. That ending is intentional. Jesus leaves the question open for the Pharisees, and for us. Will you come in and celebrate, or will you remain outside, angry at grace?
The parable of the prodigal son is ultimately not about the son at all. It is about the father. It answers the question Jesus' accusers were really asking. Why does God welcome sinners? Because, Jesus says, that is simply who God is. The younger son teaches us that no matter how far we have wandered, no matter what we have done, the Father is watching the horizon, ready to run. The older son teaches us something equally important. It is possible to be close to God outwardly while being far from Him inwardly. Religion without grace produces resentment, not joy. And the Father teaches us that grace is not a reward for good behavior. It is the nature of love itself. Wherever you are today, whether you feel like the younger son, far from home and ashamed, or the older son, faithful but bitter, the Father's door is open. Grace is not something you earn. It is something you receive. The question this parable leaves us with is deeply personal. Which son do you identify with? And what will you do with the Father's invitation? If this story moved you, don't keep it to yourself. Share it with someone who needs to hear that they are not too far gone, that there is a Father watching the horizon, waiting for them. If you want to go deeper into the stories of the Bible, stories of broken people, surprising grace, and a God who never stops pursuing, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. Every week we explore the characters and parables that have shaped human history. Remember, the God of this parable is not waiting for you to clean yourself up before coming home. He is already running toward you.